lots to break down here. First of all, what was your reaction when the decision first came out? It's a 39-page full court decision. What did you think of it?
Oh, we welcome the decision. It reinforces the position that we have had for a very long time, that red tagging endangers our rights and can lead to even more serious human rights violations.
But again, in terms of the definition, which is a red tagging is a threat to life, liberty, and security, do you think the ruling goes far enough to protect individuals?
I think the ruling will go a long way to protecting ordinary citizens, because what I've seen is that it's really ordinary people and those who want to speak out and express themselves who become the victims of red tagging. I've had, for example, there was a student I know who had to stop schooling for a year because he was red tagged by some military officials. There was even a judge of a regional trial court who was red tagged, and the person who did that was eventually fined by the Supreme Court. And her husband as well, who was a chancellor of the University of the Philippines, was also red tagged. So we can see that it can become an irresponsible weapon of branding people without any basis and also without any due process.
And then also, just to get the definitions out of the way, the Supreme Court also granted the writ of amparo. What is a writ of amparo for those of us who are not lawyers? What is the significance of this?
A writ of amparo is an order issued by a court for the protection of a person whose life, liberty, or security of person is either under threat or is really being violated already. This was first introduced by the court. It's new writ. It was introduced in 2007 by then Chief Justice Puno, and it has been used really to help ordinary citizens who are the victims of powerful people and those who are in authority who tend to abuse their power.
Right. Of course, this particular reply or decision from the Supreme Court stemmed from a Siegfried De Duro, who was head of a Visayas chapter of Bayan Muna. But to your knowledge, since you do give a lot of free legal advice, attorney, do you know or do you help out a lot of people who have been victims of red tagging?
Yes, actually, I myself have been the victim of red tagging. The organization which I chair, the Free Legal Assistance Group, has been the victim of red tagging. Aside from those I mentioned earlier, other students, many people from different sectors of our society have also been red tagged, including lawyers and human rights defenders, teachers, workers, many of them, or just ordinary people going about their lives and fighting for advocacies. And that's really one of the dangers of red tagging, because it makes people think twice before they speak and before they do what they believe is right. And it really chills our freedoms of expression and assembly.
Mm-hmm. And do you also believe that the NTF-ELCAC should be abolished? A lot of human rights groups are calling for the abolition of the NTF-ELCAC after this Supreme Court ruling. Are you of the same opinion?
The NTF-ELCAC has been one of the biggest red taggers ever in our country. And I don't think that that really should be part of any government structure. I think that the money that's given to the NTF-ELCAC could be better used to help our people with the basic problems we have of rising prices, lack of food, education, health. Dapat doon pumunta yung pera, hindi sa NTF-ELCAC.
The closest reference to red tagging prior to this was by Justice Marvic Leonin. He called red tagging red baiting. With the more explicit definition of red tagging, what does it mean for legal remedies being sought by those red tagged?
Well, first of all, it means that if you are the victim of red tagging, you can go to court and seek the protection of the court by way of a writ of amparo, or in other ways by way of an injunction or other legal remedies. But if I may add, red tagging has been around for a long time. The first documented case of red tagging that I know of happened way back in the 1950s, when the then Secretary of Justice red tagged none other than Senator Claro M. Recto, Speaker Eloy Rodriguez, Senator Lorenzo Tañada, and Arsenio Lacson, among others. That was also the first case where the Supreme Court stepped in and joined. They issued an injunction to stop that kind of red tagging. So we really are very happy and we welcome the Supreme Court decision.
There's also the anti-terror law, of course, that came out in that whole era nung nauso no yung pagre-red tag nung NTF-ELCAC. How does this then, in your opinion, attorney, provide some sort of safeguard for people who are afraid, na baka gamitin yung anti-terror law against them?
Well, the anti-terror law really is a different kind of legal animal. And my own personal opinion as far as that law is concerned is that it should be repealed. But in any event, because I believe that there are other ways to address the issue of terrorism without infringing on our people's rights. But in any event, as far as red tagging is concerned, I think that this really sends a message to those in government and even outside government to be more responsible with how they brand people. If I've said this before, if the government has evidence that persons are breaking the law, engaging in rebellion or some other kinds of crimes, then definitely they should go after them in court. But they should stop just branding anyone they believe or want to brand as a red or terrorist without any basis and without any due process.
So, attorney, you spoke about getting the protection of the court here, but how about consequences for those who actually red tag? I mean, for one, I have been a victim of that, being put in the matrix falsely. Is there, apart from protection of the court, what can I do to hold the people behind that accountable?
Basically, there are many things that you can do. If the red tagging is also a form of libel or cyber libel because it tends to destroy one's reputation. So that is available. A civil suit for damages under Article 32 of the Civil Code for infringing on our freedom of expression is also available. If the person who red tagged belongs to the government, administrative cases for grave misconduct and other administrative offenses can be filed. Complaints can also be filed with the Commission on Human Rights. The issue can be brought to the United Nations. Court cases can be filed to put a stop or to enjoin the people who are red tagging. So this is also a way of informing everyone that if you are a victim, there are remedies available.
Well, can the ruling be applied retroactively?
I think so, in the sense that it's a recognition by the court that the practice of red tagging in itself is a very dangerous practice in terms of our basic rights to life, liberty, and security. And therefore, if I, for example, was red tagged previously, I could now cite this decision as a recognition by the court and pursue the legal remedies available for that kind of practice.
So then how should individuals who feel that they've been red tagged go about this process? I mean, I'm sure you've got enough on your plate at Flag. What would be their first course of action should they feel that they're covered by this ruling?
Well, the first thing would be to document the incident. If you were red tagged online, then take a screenshot, see if you can get trace the person or the identity of the one who did the red tagging, and then immediately consult a lawyer. There are many progressive lawyers around who would be willing to help. My organization is there, the Free Legal Assistance Group. There are other organizations. And because I think that with this ruling of the Supreme Court, it now provides really much more encouragement to us to have this practice stopped, because it is really an irresponsible practice.
Well, interesting enough, in the decision also, there is a special mention on the transition of the red tagging to social networking sites where frequent surveillance and direct harassment is being done. Can you, for one, protect yourselves against trolls?
You know, that was one of the issues when one of our regional trial court judges was red tagged by a former NTF-ELCAC official, Lorraine Batoy. She was trolled and so many threats were made to her online. And of course, there's no way that we can prevent that from happening in the first instance. But I think this decision will make a lot of people think twice before they do that sort of thing. It's a call and a warning to them that you could be prosecuted or and cases could be filed against you if you do this, if you red tag.
Well, it's easier if the person red tagging you is a known personality. But what if they're anonymous? What can victims do in that case?
I would suggest that you bring the matter to the cybercrime, anti-cybercrime divisions of the Philippine National Police and the National Bureau of Investigation, and bring the matter as well to the National Privacy Commission. Because in many cases, red tagging is also a violation of our right to privacy. That's why there are many available remedies. It's just that we must really avail of them to put a stop to this pernicious
Well,
practice.
to be honest, there is so much difficulty already on that end. I mean, for one, scams, we can't trace those who perpetrate these scams. I mean, what more? The trolls who are anonymous online. I'm not sure what kind of help or assistance the anti-cybercrime division can make.
But I guess, as attorney said, the first step is really documentation. We need to get as much documentation as you can.
Now, if you're taking it to court, you have to provide the evidence as well. I think that's how it works, right, attorney?
Yeah, and you know, there are instances where our government agencies like the cybercrime units have been able to trace and identify specific persons. There are instances where they're checked and counter-checked also against posts made on Facebook and other social media apps. It's not as impossible as we think it is. May mga paraan din naman.
That's good to hear. And then, lastly, completely off topic, and I hope you forgive me for asking this because the last time we spoke to you, attorney, you said you were still considering your options for 2025 for the elections. I'm wondering if you've made up your mind.
Wala pa naman.
Okay,
It's still early.
Still early.
I have been trying to get the pulse of the people. I've been going around. And of course, it's something that I want to serve. That's very clear in my mind and in my heart. But how I will do that right now, I feel I've been able to help a lot of people with my free legal help desk online, with my explainers on TikTok and IG and YouTube. Maraming salamat po sa mga nagsasabi na nakakatulong po yung mga ginagawa ko. But you know, it's really early. Let's wait until October.
Fair enough. We will check back in with you then. Thank you so much for joining us once again tonight and helping us make sense of this new ruling. Attorney Chel Diokno, Chairman of the Free Legal Assistance Group.